Okay, from what we looked at last time, we had formalized the few points starting from the curriculum, where we say the curriculum of an educational document helps everyone who wishes to be a tutor, a lecturer, a teacher, need to understand. Say it is an educational document which outlines the goals, the aims, as well as the objectives of education. And we said the people involved in this is CDC in developing the same curriculum. After it's developed, the same curriculum is taken to the next board, which is the ECZ. The ECZ works on it as well to develop the syllabuses. After the syllabuses are done, we say they will be taken in schools. So once they are taken in schools there, the syllabuses are further break down into manageable units, one we call schemes of work. And these schemes of work, who prepares, we say the head of departments, the HODs. So in each specific subject, an HOD develops the scheme of work, then shares with others. That's the point we looked at. We also looked at the importance of schemes of work, where we said with the scheme of work, it helps a teacher to be on the track, not whereby when preparing content, he puts a content which is not applicable to that level of pupils or students. And we looked at a lesson plan where we say the lesson plan is a skeleton of points which outlines what the teacher or a tutor or a lecturer wants to present in the learning environment. And we also looked at some reasons why is it important to plan a lesson. We said when you plan a lesson, it really helps because you are going to teach with a systematic order. On top of that, we also looked at another reason, which is when you're teaching, you keep the track as a teacher. And the last one, we said it really helps when it comes to choosing the method to use when presenting your lesson. On top of that, we also looked at the nature of unplanned lesson. If at all, as a teacher, just to go minus planning a lesson, we said some of the reasons which may be there behind unplanned lessons, we said you may deliver incomplete subject matters, and also leaving out vital important points. Teacher, you can learn out of time. So all those are the points we looked at. And we concluded with the subheading essentials of a well-delivered lesson. So for a teacher to deliver a successful lesson, he or she should do what? We have to outline a number of points where we say the first thing is objectives need to be identified from the schemes of work. And those objectives, they are coming from the syllabus. And those objectives in the syllabus, they are coming all the way from the curriculum. So meaning the many way of teaching or the way education is being disseminated, they are not changing any context from there because they're using one objective from the curriculum formulation. And we say the other thing that helps is teaching aids. So meaning when teaching as a teacher, you need to incorporate your lessons with a teaching aid, because the teaching aid, it really helps pupils to grasp the points quickly or easily. So it's very important when introducing a topic. It could be in the middle of the topic. What you want there, your objective is to help these guys understand, get the concept quickly. And we also say the other thing is sitting arrangements of pupils. Pupils need to be managed very well when it comes to classroom management. So sitting arrangement also helps pupils in your process of lesson delivery. On top of that, we also say an introduction also need to be appealing, not whereby an introduction is boring. You make the entire lesson to be boring. So as a teacher, make sure when introducing a lesson should be appealing. How do you do that? As a teacher, you show enthusiasm, show that you are ready, show that you are happy with the content. You really enjoy what you are explaining. And the other point we looked at is the use of the blackboard. So as a teacher, when presenting the content, make sure people in the background, people the backbenchers there, they should see everything on the board clearly, not issues to do with questions asking, I can't see, what is that, sir? What is that, madam? So that's the direction when it comes to this. So meaning when we present the content on the board, be clear and bold, meaning you avoid unnecessary questions from the pupils. The other thing that we looked at is the lesson should be related to real life experiences. So each time we prepare a lesson, we need to integrate it with some experiences in the world. For example, we're looking at this COVID era. We may incorporate COVID era in our lessons. So as we are presenting, we find that pupils will learn both sides, because looking at what we said earlier on, like philosophy, sociology, psychology, and teaching methods. In philosophy, there are some theories I mentioned, that theories like constructionism, theories like behavioralism, theories like existentialism, especially looking at theories in philosophy like constructionism. The constructionism says when helping these guys, our focus as a teacher is not just to teach the textbook. No, we should also teach the young ones the real life outside there. So that is it all about learning. Learning should not be based just on the textbook, but also on the real life experiences. So that is the thing that us who are doing this very course should know. And the other thing we looked at is tactile questions need to be used in the classroom. So as a teacher, you need to avoid obvious questions, because when you expose pupils to obvious questions, you affect their mental cognitive development. So it's better you use tactile questions because they will be involved to listen. You grow them like that. And the other thing you also mentioned is the classroom control. So classroom control also really helps when delivering a lesson. It also supplements to the success of a lesson when you have classroom control. And this is the area where we also mentioned the situation like what happens around. It could be this person has gone and owns that teaching methodology is at CBU, TVTC, a number of institutions which offers these courses. So you find what makes people fail the teaching practice experience is on the classroom control. Majority of people have seen they fail how to manage their pupils. You would find is teaching the pupils are disturbing, and the lecturer or the observer get disturbed. So those are some of the things which makes people fail. You find someone is good at explaining, but is failing to manage his pupils. So classroom control is one way which helps deliver a lesson successfully. On top of that, we also said budget the lesson. So as a teacher, it's very important to budget the lesson. If it's within 40 minutes, you maintain your content within 40 minutes. If it is 80 minutes, just like that. So it's very important. So today, let's speak it from methods and approaches to teaching. Methods and approaches to teaching. I'm sure from what we said and the experience we have, a number of us, you have seen how a human being can be handled from those points we looked at in psychology, looking at personality, looking at intelligence. People are classified. There's people are talkative, quiet, average, people are genius, slow learners. So these people, for them to understand a concept, was for a teacher to prepare very well. So when preparing, the teacher needs to understand the classroom or to picture the nature of students his or her has. So when preparing, is going to choose a suitable method, a tactic to use, so that when he teaches, is going to make it maybe 95 or 90% of the classroom to get the concept. So there are a number of methods that we can use when teaching or presenting our lessons. So some of these we are going to list them here. Let's start with the first one that we can use as a teacher if you want to present your lesson. The first one is teacher-centered approach. Teacher-centered approach. Teacher-centered approach. So, what is the nature of this teaching method? This method focuses on the teacher. So you'll find much of the talking is done by the teacher. In short, the center of classroom activities, they are on the teacher. So that is teacher-centered approach. So you'll find students or pupils, they'll be just following, clarifying few points, but much of the talking, much of classroom activity, they are centered on the teacher. That is teacher-centered approach. How is the recommendation when it comes to teaching profession? This method is not recommended in teaching profession. It may be used, but it's not recommended. Why? Because much of the work, much of the explanation, they are centered on the teacher. So, what is the next method that you can use? Learner-centered approach. So the other method that we can use is learner-centered approach. So what is involved in this learner-centered approach? Much of the explanation, much of the conceptualizing is based on the pupils or students. So students in this case or learners are the center of classroom activity. So the teacher is just there to monitor, to help these guys to move on the right direction. So that is learner-centered approach. So this can be other method that a teacher can apply in the learning environment. We have also other methods like lecture method. Lecture method is slightly different from teacher-centered approach. When talk of a teacher-centered approach, a teacher here has a blackboard, could be a ruler, a duster, uses those to present a lesson. But in a lecture method, there is no need of a board. A lecture can be done like this, the way we are learning. This is a lecture method, whereby the lecturer is explaining few points, explaining this, explaining that. Where there is need to clarify, you raise your hands, you participate. That is lecture method. So there's no need of saying, no, we need a board, we need to see where you're writing, what is the date today. No. At times, the lecture method, there's no need of even introducing the subject. You just proceed explaining. You just realize later to say, oh, this course is teaching methods. So that is the direction of a lecture method. There is no need of a number of things to put in place. So this one is not advised as well to lower grades, like grade 1 coming up to 12. It's not allowed. At national and tertiary level, lecture method is approved. That's the one which is being used. The other method that can be used as well when presenting our lessons as teachers is demonstration method. This can be done by demonstrating, using pupils, using things, whatever, etc., etc. Or drawing something on the board as a diagram. So all those are demonstration methods. You demonstrate. So demonstration method as well can be used as a method of teaching. We have also Socratic method. Socratic method. And this is considered to be the first method to be used by ancient philosophers. So this method was proposed by a philosopher by the name of Socrates. No wonder you see it comes from that name. Socratic method is from Socrates, a philosopher. I'm sure by the time we will be doing other programs, I'm sure some theories will be incorporating them. Like if someone asks you a question, where do you think this education started from? Education started in Greece. Who were the people in forefront spearheading the same education? The first group were the Confucius, followed by the Socrates team. So it's more like Confucius teaches Socrates. Socrates teaches another one. So it was a chain like that going through. So it was a method which was being used by those philosophers when presenting their lessons. And why do we look at them as philosophers? These people were powerful. They were geniuses. They had that wisdom of teaching a number of professions. So you go there, you do this career, you teach in those schools like Athens. You still remember those when you go in detail history. So they were using such method like Socratic method. Now, in our day, how do we call this Socratic method? This is the one we call question and answer method. Question and answer method. This is Socratic. So this can be used when teaching for children. Apart from that, we have also another method, which is brainstorming. So brainstorming is another method that can be used in class. How does this method work? So it's a method that you introduce or you use to your pupils or students by posing. It could be a question on the board. It could be a teaching aid, which is a chart portraying a certain sign or symbol. Then from there, your goal is to make these guys realize something. It could be a teaching grade 11 and the topic you're looking at is judgment. Or it could be a teaching grade 11. The topic you're looking at is player. So just like something, or you do a symbol. Then you ask the class. So let's imagine someone is doing like this. What does this mean? So is play, whatever. From there, that is brainstorming. You are trying to help these guys discover something. So that is brainstorming. All right. The other method that we can look at as well is group work. Group work. Also, this method is effective, especially to those who teach social sciences subjects. Could be English, whatever. So you'd find that when you put these guys in groups, it could be literature, etc. This method works well. It could be you are teaching subjects to do with art. Also, this method really works well. So there are a number of them that we can use in presenting our lessons. Then we have another method, which is the classroom discussion. So this one involves the teacher himself together with the class discussing on something. It's more like a question and answer, but it's a discussion. Question and answer, majority of that part, the class, they are not involved fully. They'll be participating here and there. But in the classroom discussion, this is where you find even the teacher is seated. The pupils, they are in front. So that's the direction. Then when it comes to another method is the project method. Also, this one is used in art and science, where children are given assignment to work on a certain project. So it's another method. So all these methods, they are very important to a teacher. So what is needed to a teacher is to go through them and understand what are the advantages of each and what is the disadvantage of each. So once you see the advantage of each and every, then it will be very easy for you to apply any, or it could be 3 within one lesson, 2 within one lesson is fine, because your goal is to reach the heart of these guys. Okay, so this is the part that we wanted to look at, the methods. Now let's proceed to the second point, subheading. Let's look at classroom management. So we are done with the method that we can use. Let's look at classroom management. Mr. Mayowe. Mr. O'Brien.
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr.
Yes, sir.
All right. We have Mr. Mfichan. Are you there, sir? Mr. Albert. I'm sure is within. Okay. Let's look at classroom management. Let's look at classroom management. So under classroom management, we have these 2 points we're going to look at. The first one is classroom control and discipline. And the second one is signs of indiscipline in class. And the third one, causes of disorders in class. Let's discuss this, because earlier on we said if at all classroom management is not maintained, you'd find no matter how you can prepare your lesson, it will be very difficult to deliver your lesson, because the learners, they are not organized. The learners, they are not maintained. They are not in position. So why is it important that when presenting a lesson, we maintain classroom management? We are going to reach or to meet our objectives, those we set in the lesson plan. So it's very important when we maintain classroom management, it will help us achieve our objectives. So how would you do that? So one way is by identifying signs of indiscipline in class. So at this point in time, I want to involve you. I'll be asking individually so that we put this in practical sense. Signs of indiscipline in class. We'll start with Mr. O'Brien Mwalishinka. Mr. Mwalishinka.
Yes, sir.
What are some of the signs of indiscipline in class?
Some of the signs of indiscipline in class, like eating in class.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Mr. Mfichan.
Okay, yeah, I think having a discussion when the teacher is teaching.
Thank you. Mr.
Hello? Yes, signs of indiscipline in class. This is where you find you are teaching and the pupils are discussing about something.
It's very true. Mr. Amayobe.
Yes, sir.
What are some of the signs of indiscipline in class?
Probably I can talk of unnecessary movements or even passing unnecessary from one pupil to the other.
Very true. So you have seen people, so this thing is very practical. We know these things. So it could be these pupils, from what we learned to say, they are classified in personalities. There are those who are talkative, the extroverts. You'd wonder, a pupil is whistling, is in class, is whistling outside. So those are signs of indiscipline. It could be eating. It's not a break time, but they're eating. He or she is eating. Those are signs of indiscipline. It could be moving up and down like that, but it's lesson. So all those are signs of indiscipline in class. Could be stealing. All those are signs of indiscipline. Fighting, signs of indiscipline. Speaking vernacular, all those are signs of indiscipline. Shouting, singing. So there are a lot, including dress code. So you'd find majority, they don't want to put on full attire for uniform. All those are signs of indiscipline in class. So as a teacher, how do you solve such problems? Let's find the solutions here. Let's start with Mr. Malishik. How do you solve such problems?
So I think when it comes to, you need to be bold and strong, then you outline as a teacher.
Very good. Very good.
What I want is ABCD, ABCD, ABCD. I don't want this. If you don't adhere to my instruction or to what I want, then you are not welcome in my class. If you stand on your grounds, then it should be there. You should be flexible and you should be hard so that the learners should not like do each relationship with the teacher, because once they start that familiarization, it will be like the teacher and the learners, they won't see any gap
Very true.
between who is the teacher and who is the learner.
Very true. Mr. Mayole, how would you solve the situation?
Probably I can say just an addition on what Mr. Mwadishinka has said. I can just say that there should be fairness, especially when this particular pupil has committed an offense. The way you treat the same offense to the other person should be fair enough in order for the pupil to have respect and believe that whatever that you say stands.
It's very true. Mr. Mfichani, in addition?
Okay. Yeah, I think the first thing as a teacher, you need to be a bit tough, though flexible. Okay. Then the other thing, I think it's very much important to use maybe the first 5 minutes to talk to the pupils before you start teaching them. Okay.
All right. So we have seen more suggestions.
Okay, because most of the pupils, you find that that's a moment of listening. Yes. There'll be that moment of listening. So the first 5 minutes, talk to them about real life. Talk to them about why they come to school. Just try to inspire them. Just, if possible, come up with a story that will just draw their attention. Because maybe you found them, they were learning another subject, they are still in the mood of that subject. So you need to interrupt them from whatever they've been doing. Then you just draw their attention. Then if anything, you can talk to them about the rules that you've put in place for that, your 40 minutes or 30 minutes. Then you start teaching. That way it becomes easier.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So those are some of the practical ways in which we can solve classroom in this. So as a teacher, first of all, you have to analyze, understand your class. When you understand the class, then you know the formula to use to take away those indisciplined behaviors. Because what we are using there is a theory, and that theory is what we call behaviorism. Because you're not happy with that behavior, it disturbs learning. Education won't take place where there is such behaviors. So as a teacher, what you do is you maintain that direction. So what could be some of the ways in which you can resolve such problems? As a teacher, please agree with your pupils by coming up with simple rules in that learning environment. You sit them down together, let's agree. Let's imagine you come late, I'm inside already. What are you supposed to do? They will say of themselves, they will mention everything. And imagine they say it from their heart. So it will be very helpful to you as a teacher, and you train them professionally like that, than teasing them or maybe treating them in a brutal way. But when you try that direction, it will help you handle them properly, because they will see some form of a love, say you care for them. So you sit down with them, let's come up with simple rules. Let's imagine you fail to to work on homework. What should we do? Then they'll come up with suggestions. No, sir, we should do this. Very good. You even buy a manila, you come up with simple rules. Let's imagine you fail to sweep your learning environment. What should we be doing to this group, which is they are the ones who are working on this day? So you come up with those simple rules. So at the end of the day, you maintain your class. Even these teachers who say there is a notorious class here, you are going to manage it because of your strategies. So that is what is needed. It's not about maybe you're very strong, you tease them, you beat them, you punish them. No, it's about just tricking their mind. You see how you can work with them. Then from there, you build them properly. The very notorious class, we even wanted to say they are the best pupils. So that's the direction when it comes to practical aspects of classroom control. Okay, let's come up to another point, which is the causes of disorders in class. Let's look at that part as well. What are some of the causes of disorders in class? Causes of disorders in class. So basically, if you look at the causes of these disorders in class, these things, they are also discussed in these other courses like sociology, etc., and psychology. Basically, there are just 3 things which are causes of disorders in classroom environment. The first one is heredity. And when you talk of heredity, who can explain when you say the first cause of disorder is heredity? Who can shed more light there? Who can shed more light there when you talk of heredity? Mr. Malishing.
Yeah. Is it the same as rigid or?
Yeah, I think just to
Yes.
try, that is a family thing.
It's very true. You have gotten Mr. Malishing the direction.
Heredity, that has to do
Okay. It's very true. Thank
Hello?
you so much, Mr. Fichan.
Hello?
We have gotten the concept. So that's a direction. So you'd find when talk of heredity, this is in blood. It's a blood problem. It's a family problem. So you'd find such pupils or students, they behave almost the same. It could be the elder brother is in grade 7, the young brother is in grade 4. It could be their grade 9, grade 7. The way they behave totally the same. It's heredity. So you find no matter how you can try to mold them, they'll still repeat the same things. So that is heredity. It's in blood. So what causes these disorders in classes? First one is heredity. It's in heredity in nature. It's a blood thing. That's how they are in their family. They are just talkative, or they are just lazy. So that's the direction. So it's heredity. Then other point is the environmental factor. The environmental factor becomes the second factor which is a cause of disorder in class. You would find a pupil is just okay to his parents at home there. But when this person reaches the school environment, it's another person. Like you are in management positions, you'd even wonder to hear from the parents. Say, no. My child is not like this. I can't believe this. My child is doing such things. So the other thing which causes disorders in class is environmental factors. The environment where this child is exposed to, because of the friends, you find that the child will start behaving in that direction. So it's another form of disorder in class. Environment. And the last one is the peer pressure. So the peer pressure is another factor which causes pupils to start misbehaving in the learning environment. Because they are tied to this individual, the friend, they want to make noise, they want to violate, they want to vandalize. It's peer pressure. Smoking, doing a lot of things. So all those are the causes of disorders in class. Are we together, people? Mr. Amayowe?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I can see your hand, yes.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask something, especially on the part of classroom management, when it comes to hereditary cause of disorder in class. Yes, heredity. I just wanted to ask, as in, how can you manage it since this thing is in the blood of that particular pupil?
There is a counseling department